Now the first thing you do is loosen up the clamp that holds the clutch exhaust. And pull that clutch exhaust tube completely free. Then you've got 9 3/8 screws that you've got to pull all the way around the cover. I find it's easiest to use a cordless drill motor, but you could use a ratchet wrench. Then you pull the cover off. Now to remove the belt, I've found it's usually easiest if you pull up real hard on the belt to separate the sheaves on the secondary clutch. It'll make it a little looser and easier to remove. Not that it's going to be all that easy. And the hard part is rolling the belt off. Make sure your tranny is in neutral and just roll the clutch like this while you're pulling the belt, and it's off. Now, to get the secondary off, you take a 1/2-inch socket. It's usually helpful if you had somebody here to help with it, but you can do it by yourself. Sometimes it'll come right off. Other times you got to get somebody to hold it and tap the wrench, and it's usually not on there that tight. Pull the bolt out. And just lift the secondary off. Comes off real easy, never a problem with that. Now, the next thing you do is to take a rubber handled hammer and you place it inside the clutch like so, and rotate it around like so. Until you can make contact with the frame. Take a 5/8 socket, there we go, and loosen up this center bolt. Just loosen it up, don't remove it yet. Just like that. Now you take that 3/8 socket again. Once again, I like using my cordless to remove them. Don't use it to put it back together. And pull all of these bolts. Before you pull this cover off, make sure that you mark it. This cover has to stay aligned with the rest of the clutch. So just put a pencil mark. You can't see it. I've got a red mark right here on the clutch and on the cover. That way I'll make sure that they are always aligned. Now finish pulling this bolt. Pull the cover. Lift your hammer out of there. Pull the spring out. Now, depending on which clutch kit you have, you may have to change out the weights. Okay, to remove the weights, you need an 1/8 inch Allen wrench and a 3/8 inch socket. And you just pull this pin right here. Sometimes they get a little stuck, so you have to tap them out. You just lift that weight out. So what the factory weight looks like right here. You pull that out. Put the adjustable weights back in. Just tighten the nut back up. Now when you're putting this spring back in, you just slide the spring on. Slide the cover back in place, being careful to make sure that the alignment marks that you put on the cover and on the clutch line up, like so. Start your bolts. Tighten up your center bolt. The center bolt will get torqued down to 47 foot-pounds, and all of these individual 3/8 screws will be torqued down to 90 inch-pounds. Now, a very important detail that many people miss is when you get your Dirty Dog performance clutch, you need to clean it really well with isopropyl alcohol or some other cleaner that won't leave a residue. They do come with oil on them, and if you put it together with that on, you're really going to be disappointed with the performance. The belt's just going to slip. Once you've got it cleaned, you just slide it onto the shaft, rotate it until it slides into place. Then you put the bolt back in and you'll torque that bolt to 17 foot-pounds. The next step is going to be putting on the belt. When you put the belt on, make sure the numbers are facing you like this does. You slide it over the primary. Now I've found it easier to come in threading it into the bottom first and rotating it. Some people do go the other way with it. Either way, it's not an easy thing to do. You just try to rotate both of them while you're working the belt into place. And there it is. I'd say simple as that, but I don't think that really qualifies. Now, I recommend that you start your engine up, and while it's spinning, you look straight down the belt and make sure that it's not running in an S shape. Make sure it's running straight. If it is, you're good to go. If you got a little S shape, you may have to add a shim behind the secondary clutch. Once that's done, it's just a matter of putting your cover back on. And then sliding your exhaust tube back into place. And tightening down the clamp. Once that's done, you start it up, let it idle for about 10 minutes, let the belt get good and warm, and take it for a nice easy drive for, I don't know, 10 minutes. Just kind of let it get broke in, and once that's done, you just put the machine back together, just like you tore it apart, and you know, you're ready to ride.